Welcome to WeTaku Anime Review, a podcast in which a bunch of people who probably aren't qualified get together and talk about anime. I'm Javon, I'm one of your hosts. I specialize in shonen, and I do not specialize in any way about anything symbolic. Why is every show we watch symbolic? What? So, today, before we get to the show, that has far more symbolism than I can deal with, let me introduce my lovely co-hosts. Two of the three regulars are here, as well as a special guest who, like Alan, doesn't exist. Introduce yourselves, please. Tom, what you at?
You said you were going to introduce us, but
I said your
Thomas, and I still have that new Twitter, so check me out at WeTaku Tom.
He doesn't look like a bot anymore. He's not an egg.
Yeah, I finally put up my profile picture.
I'm proud of you.
After 4 weeks.
I forgot I have to introduce people. So coming in from the lovely beaches of Los Angeles, you might hear the waves in his background, it is Alan.
I'm really just Tome with a bad mic for some reason.
Man, we had
the alibi. We set it up for you. Come on.
You were going to be the most dedicated WeTaku member.
That was a layup.
From the beach. It was a layup and you just dropped the ball.
In reality, I just have a bad mic and I'm too lazy to try to find a way to fix it.
Bad mic and no this thing right there.
Webcam. That's what they call them.
Newfangled. Much has a tendency to disconnect. You know this.
Please.
And
please no.
Last but not least, we have a lovely co-host, Mr. Matthias Matthew Maddington, the Matt.
That is my full born name.
Of course. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Matt. You can follow me at SunA of Greep on Twitter. Just my personal Twitter. No anime Twitter. But yeah, that's about it. I don't know who I am.
He doesn't do much. He doesn't actually exist. He's just a voice that we found for the podcast.
Oh yeah, I'm a talking head, but I didn't want to show that. So.
He's really a text-to-speech program.
Very advanced. Very advanced. Yeah, Turing would be proud.
Yeah, it's like a Chatterbot, but put through the Google Translate to Chinese and then back to English again.
That is how I speak, yeah.
And we did also force that program to watch today's show, Fooly Cooly. Or, as the show likes to repeat on endless loop, furry curry, 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 furry curry. And that, like, me stumbling at the end? No, they do that too. Summary for today. Fooly Cooly is about a boy who exists in very strange, overtly sexual relationships with women who are, like, high schoolers and or adults.
He's like a middle schooler.
He's like an elementary schooler, but for us it's like 6th grade. But it's like 6th grade for us, so technically middle schooler. The point being,
he's young. Nubile.
And he gets boners in his head that robots pop out of.
Yeah.
Anything?
But nothing interesting happens, though. You have to clarify that.
Never.
Yeah, it's a really boring show. I want to talk about the animation first. Nothing happens. This is the most bog standard animation. Straight 5 out of 10 average. Nothing unusual. I cannot keep this up. If you have epilepsy, do not watch Fooly Cooly. Holy shit.
If you've ever seen what was the vampire show we watched earlier?
Oh god, Fortune Arterial.
If you've ever seen that, animation, very similar. No, actually, the animation is fantastic. One of my favorite things about the animation is the unfinished backgrounds. Nothing. I'm pretty sure almost no scene. Okay, you can't quote me on that. There are a lot of scenes where there is very little color, actually. Like, they have immense portions of white space, and they use them phenomenally. And the animation is fluid, and when it doesn't need to be, it's static and well-detailed.
On top of that, the setting changes about every 3 seconds anyways, not an exaggeration. So it really doesn't benefit them to finish the background. They're not going to use it for very long.
There are a lot of cuts. And the color palette is pretty vibrant, other than... Actually, the background is almost intentionally like washed out while the characters pop off the page, almost off the screen.
You about to say something?
It's also the animation itself is very expressive. Like, there are a lot of like very comedic moments during the show. Like
Yeah,
most
what
of it.
studio is this? IG?
I don't think so.
It is IG.
It is IG. Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't-
It reminded me that kind of animation reminded me a lot of like the weird One Punch Man, like explosive, like in the weirder scenes of One Punch Man's action, where like everything's happening all at once. It reminded me a lot of this.
Yeah, there's a lot
Oh,
of
yeah,
character
no.
model stretching and stuff, but like it's not off-putting or anything. It looks very
Very charming.
It's
Yeah,
off-putting
I think
in one
it.
way.
I think it feels alive.
Yes, it definitely feels alive. The animation itself is not off-putting, and like I don't mean off-putting in a sense of like this is a bad show, because it's a fine show and a very entertaining watch, but off-putting in a. You guys told me last week that this was kind of a parody.
Yeah.
You lied. Kind of has no role in that sentence.
Well, I think it
Balls
tries.
to the walls 24/7.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a comedy. And I like that it feels like it's telling, like it's a story with characters that you can actually like I think connect with, at least to Naota. Pretty alright for like a middle schooler, and I feel like it really captures the feeling of being like that, of having that angst and always wanting to like find something new and greater out there and never being satisfied. However, it makes fun of that, flips it on its head, and is like, look how stupid it is anyway.
Yeah. On top of that, you probably shouldn't relate to any other character. Please.
Not really.
don't.
Not necessarily. The girl Nina Mori, the one with the parents who are like, one, her parents are in the spotlight, and two, they're having like a rough divorce. Like, you could definitely relate with her because her whole problem is that she's being forced to grow up too fast, which is the exact same thing that Naota is going through.
That's true. All right. Let's see. Before getting into the spoilers of talking about the characters, though, see, we've talked about animation as well as we could. I think there's no way for me to describe animation better than just like if you did Speed and then like lived your life for a day, and also you were on shrooms, so the setting kept changing. Animaniacs. I got it. Animaniacs. Imagine if Animaniacs was done with like One Punch Man fight sequences. And that's what this entire show, that's what I got it. Did it.
Or it's like Bakemonogatari, but the opposite. Like the exact opposite.
Someone who hasn't seen Bakemonogatari yet, explain.
Oh, we'll get to it in the future. But Bakemonogatari is all about the still shots, and just very artistically, very like elaborate, almost Wes Anderson like perfect proportions and everything, and then everything's just a little bit off, just like Wes Anderson. Like the symmetry's just right there.
This is like Carnival Phantasm meets crack cocaine.
Yeah, no, it's in live action. I'm trying to think of. It's like comparing The Dark Knight, I guess, to Wes Anderson. This is Dark Knight, I guess.
I think that's too kind. This is not Dark Knight. It's like comparing the Animaniacs to Wes Anderson.
Yeah. Okay. Better. That's definitely better. I just can't think of anything fast-paced off the top of my head.
Red Line.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Red Line.
Red Line with the perspective animation, like that is actually a really good comparison. It's pretty similar.
Line again, everybody. That was the best movie. Anyway, so that's that. I want to talk about sound real fast. As somebody who doesn't listen to like a lot of rock and roll, I feel like a lot of the soundtrack was wasted on me. Somebody else, let me know what I'm missing.
As far as someone who likes rock and roll, pretty all right. This is a fantastic soundtrack by the Pillows, but I know Matt has more to say about this.
Oh my god, the soundtrack is probably my favorite thing about the entire show. Like the animation mixed with the soundtrack, the entire audio-visual package that this thing has, it's the best thing about the show. Like the music is good, and I could listen to it on its own and be satisfied. But the way they use it in the actual show, like the show itself is paced like a music video for the music, and it just fits together like puzzle pieces. It's amazing.
The audio cues come in like perfectly
Yes,
for the
like-
right like oomph that accentuates the
Yeah.
animation.
You know, action's about to happen. You get the drum beat in the background, and it starts kicking the
it
music
gets
up.
so
Where
hyped.
like, yeah, it gets so hyped so fast, but at like the perfect rate at the same time. It's probably, I think it's the best thing that they've done about the show. It's the most well crafted part.
And then they really know how to slow it down for the angsty moments where he's
Mhm.
just like standing with his hands in his pockets, walking or like sitting under the bridge, and what's their names? Just throwing, hitting, pretending to hit baseballs,
Yeah.
and it's just
And not to mention that, like, during these slowed down parts, they can still have like hard rock sound, like crunchy bass in the background, but it still feels mellow.
crunchy bass.
Yeah.
Now I want to like watch the show again just to listen to the soundtrack, but I know I'll still like. I really loved it. Don't get me wrong. I feel like I started off wrong by being like I don't listen to a lot of rock and roll. It was a great soundtrack, but I feel like there was a lot of just like subtleties and greatness to it that I'm just like, that's a pretty good track, I guess.
I'll be honest, rock and roll is not my primary like type of music that I listen to anyway. It's just I think it fits so well that like
It really
How
does,
could I
especially
not?
because Haruko, is that her name?
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's Haruka.
Haruko fights with the guitar, so
Yep. Oh wait, no, I forgot what it was. I need to know what type of guitar it is.
we could find it in like a second.
As far as sound effects are concerned, they use a lot of cartoony sound effects to
Oh yeah, they do.
good effect.
They do.
Very well. So, and in like cartoony areas. So like you're not gonna hear like a champagne pop when they open bottle of champagne. You hear it when they pull out earwax and they like look at it and like flick it away, and it's
You are
Cute.
watching a
and
more honestly in this show than in any other anime. You are watching a cartoon, and I get technically all anime is a cartoon, but this is a Saturday morning like American style goofy ass cartoon, except for the fact that it's like actually wrought with like symbolism for puberty.
Oh, it's
I
so
think it's
dense.
puberty. We're gonna have a talk about that in a bit. But and by the way, everybody, in case you were really curious, Rickenbacker 4001.
Yeah, I was gonna make an aside for that. My roommate would be ashamed of me at this moment.
How
He's guitar
dare
buff.
you. All right, let's see. In terms of story, like for those wondering if this is character driven or story driven, how do I say neither?
it's action driven. It's whatever is happening in the scene is what it rolls with, really, and
Pretty much.
it kind of just comes off the walls. Like
It-
you don't know
yeah.
what exactly you're in for.
It's like
until it
asking, what drives Nichijou? Well,
yeah, like well, Nietzsche does a little more sporadic,
Well,
but
but-
so like each episode has a theme, and then there's a general overarching plot line that
it got lost somewhere in the middle, TBH, but hey.
yeah, episode 3 wasn't great. Oh no, 4. I didn't like 4, but yeah, and then like it has like snippets of like the overarching story as it goes on until like the last 2 episodes are pretty much only about wrapping up those snippets that they cut out, I guess. And but each episode is why you really watch. You don't need to watch the whole thing like episode by episode or all the way through. I think each episode is a little treat on its own, and the bite-sized treats, 6 episodes, you're in for a really small cake.
Yeah. So, before we jump into spoilers, does anybody have anything else to say before we say like or dislike?
Yes. I want to mention this every time that it happens. This series is available on Funimation's YouTube channel. So you
Oh,
have no excuse to not be able to watch this. Unless you live in a different country, I guess.
Alan is calling you out.
Remember
There
to
you
turn
go.
off AdBlock and support Funimation.
They can't do that thing. It also isn't egregious with ads. It has 2 ad zones, so it's not bad. They're in good spots. So, Alan, would you like to tell us how you feel about the show, spoiler free?
spoiler free, I think it's honestly really fun, and so I watched this while I was studying, and honestly, like, it was a really good break in between. um,
Fair.
it definitely gets your mind off of anything that you're doing.
Yeah. Last night I had the choice to write an essay or watch the show, and well, here we are. So
I definitely recommend it to anyone who enjoys comedy, cool action scenes, and the like. Basically, like any show that runs off the rule of cool. Yeah.
rule of cool is the rule to live by here. Alrighty, can I get Mr. Thomas?
Hey, yeah.
Yeah.
This show is a really nice portrayal of angst and how it has no place in the world, except angst rules the world in this show, and it really does. Like, angst powers the power plant and the robots and everything.
Oh, is that what it is?
Emotions, angst, same thing.
Emotions is one of them. Yeah, whatever.
But I definitely like.
I lost track of your point there for a second. All right, he's just gonna leave it. Matt, Monsieur Matthew.
Yes. As many thumbs up as I can give it, I will give to this show. If I had more thumbs, it would all be pointed in the same direction.
You know, you don't have a camera. You can tell us however many thumbs you want us to think you have.
Well, maybe you'll never see me. Let's just say it's a lot. Overall, this show is it's one of the most densely packed things you'll ever see. There's no next time on Dragon Ball Z. Every episode is like, its own little thing that sort of can wrap itself up without, making you not interested in the next one. It's fantastic. It's satisfying to watch. I wouldn't recommend it to everyone because I feel like it is for a certain type of person, and not everyone is gonna. It's not gonna resonate with everyone. And it is a little bit awkward if you show it to someone. If you're like, "Hey, I really like this show," and then like the sex scenes and, well, not exactly sex, but
You need to know
middle
your audience.
schooler, as close as a middle schooler would get to sex in Japan.
The lewd scenes.
Yeah, the lewdness, the foodie cootie, if you will.
Oh God, it begins.
It can be a little bit awkward, but overall, absolutely love it. One of the best things I've ever seen.
Alrighty. And I guess that leaves it to me. So generally, especially when we have something wrought with symbolism, it's my job to say how much I don't like it, how the anime has its head up its own ass, and blah, 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 blah. I'll be completely honest, this anime does have its head up its own ass. But it's an enjoyable ass to look at. I liked Fully a lot. It was a good time. Thomas, are you okay? Listen.
Would you say, does Fooly Cooly got Kate?
So, in a second, we're going to go to the spoiler section. If you want to tune out now, come back to us when you finish watching the show. VODs will be up on YouTube, of course. Just pause the video. You know what to do. Go watch the thing. It's literally 6 episodes long. You don't even have to open up a new website. Just open up a new tab in YouTube. Like, come on. Do it. It's easy. So yeah, come back to us. Welcome back. And it's time for spoiler section. 5, 4, 3, 2. As always, we have one question. Who was best girl? This is when you guys answer this question.
Oh.
Who was best girl?
Mr. Robot Man.
The TV
Or-
bot.
Yeah. Or Naota's dad. I like him too.
No.
Naota's
whoa,
dad's
wow.
pretty hot.
Nope, I'm about to fight that one. I'll fight that one until the end of the world's back. Alright, if I have to choose the best girl... See, the problem is I enjoyed the show. I don't think I liked a single character. Takun the cat. Takun the cat has done nothing wrong.
Wow.
I'm
Maybe
definitely going Naota's dad.
Defend it.
Or
Go.
maybe the puppet of Naoto's dad.
No,
Honestly,
just like
a worse character somehow.
Naota's dad's fucking home. Well, he's hilarious. And,
Subtle.
And,
Subtle catch.
we try not to curse too much.
Really?
And like, so like he drives. I think he really leads the scenes that he's in, and he's definitely the goofy dad. But then like he does pretty crappy things to like Naota and like he has like this dark atmosphere around him sometimes, but it's always undercut by his buttery, goofy laugh and stupid jokes that always land for me. Like they're fantastic.
I'm gonna hit a counterpoint here.
Yeah.
He is my least favorite character because those goofy jokes should not be coming out of a grown man. And first, I get it. That's the point.
Absolutely. That is the point. The point of him is that it shows you that adults aren't perfect. Like adults can do shitty things, and adults can do crappy things, and adults can be goofy and make jokes that may not land with you or are just terrible. You know, they're just because you're grown up.
Adults are just larger kids, you know?
Yes, they're tall child.
God, I wish that was actually true. Is the problem? Because like our sense of fun and humor can keep up. No, because that he is an adult who does not feel like he's had any of like the life experience or anything. Like he makes jokes as if he's a middle schooler with all the experiences of like a 10-year-old.
Just because you get older doesn't mean you have to grow up.
His audience is his elementary school son. Like
yes,
that's who he's entertaining.
I don't know that he is, but all right, fair enough, I guess.
He's definitely not entertaining.
He's making it memorable.
His English voice actor really gives his all. I don't know if it's good, but he really does.
Oh, we didn't talk about that. I love the English voice acting.
Really?
So I watched it subbed because that's what Funimation's YouTube had.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
I've seen both. The voice actors, particularly for Mamimi, kind of meh in my opinion, but most of them are pretty good, especially for dubs at the time.
Fair. What year was this? 2003? 2000. Huh?
2000?
Oh, 2003 for English, 2000 for original. Yeah.
Wow.
It's old.
I didn't know it was that old.
Yeah, neither did I. Jeez. Wait, there's sequels?
They're
Coming out.
Yeah, soon.
What?
Yeah, they
they're gonna
announced
be
it this summer, I think.
All right.
You sang.
All right. Anywho.
They're bringing back old IPs, just like the Kino's Journey one.
Oh boy, we are in for an interesting time in anime. All right, so we've talked about Naota's dad. Did we have other best girls from you two?
Eyebrows, probably. Gotta say.
Oh man, I love that Eyebrows is just a rejected boyfriend.
I like how he has his little tiny feminine guitar. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like a girl's guitar.
I truly appreciate her line of like it's small as always.
Oh yes, it's a feminine guitar.
The implication that he was Naota before Naota was.
It's seaweed, right? They're like strips of seaweed.
Yeah.
It is unfortunate.
He is another example of an adult that is not grown up.
That is true, but I think he's implemented a lot better. Personally.
Oh yeah, his character's great, and like he shows up out of no. I love how he shows up halfway through the show, and they still make you care about him, like at least a little bit.
I feel like the show for me went a little downhill when they started like trying to bring the plot in, but his part of the plot was great because it made no sense whatsoever.
None of the plot
makes sense. He just seemed like a jealous guy. Yeah, that's true. But like when they started focusing on the plot in the last 2 episodes, especially, I was just kind of sitting there like, "You're losing me." But he himself, always fantastic. Never like a time where he's on the screen where I feel bad about it. All right, we have one more best girl to go. Alan, give it to us.
I'd probably definitely say Conti. I just like that TV bot so much.
The TV bot is so lovely.
A perfect mate.
I feel bad for Conti, actually. Conti gets like taken in the first episode, and then they just treat him like garbage.
Yeah.
If I would get a body pillow, I'd get Conti in that maid suit.
Definitely.
Zooey mama.
Yes.
Oh god, memes help. Conti, oh god, Conti's great actually, especially with the reveal at the end. that he's God or something.
He's being possessed by a space pirate. It doesn't make sense. It's not supposed to.
But the space pirate is also like low-key God.
Well, yeah, he's like way more powerful than you'd think when you hear the word space pirate.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You get space pirates like Simon. So
Yeah, but then there's also like Treasure Planet. You're like, these are just guys.
Metroid.
In One Piece, they send a guy into space. Does that count?
with what a cat.
No, Luffy punches him really hard to the moon.
That's ridiculous.
It's just about right.
In absolute fairness, they're fighting above the clouds to begin with.
Oh, well, in that case.
It makes perfect sense now in my Rowboat Pirates anime.
You can fit every planet by circumference, by diameter, end to end between the Earth and the Moon.
Yeah, the moon's really far away, as it turns out. Nobody tell anyone who makes anime that. Because between Dragon Ball and One Piece, I don't think we know that. Dragon Ball blows up the moon like instantaneously every 5 minutes.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
Listen, the moon is a dangerous thing. You'll turn into a giant monkey, kill everyone. It's a problem. Get rid of it. Tides will not be affected. Nothing will go wrong. Alrighty, so talking about Fooly Cooly, bringing us back. We're about as on topic as the show is.
All the way back from the moon.
All the way back from the moon. How do I talk about Fooly Cooly?
Well, so I wanted to briefly at least mention, I love the transitions, the departures from the normal animation to like manga style animation that they do quite often.
The first
I think
and last
they do
episode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's the
also
first
love
one.
that they reference how hard it is to do.
yeah,
The animators told us to stop it.
Yeah.
yeah.
And people saying we're lazy, we didn't want to animate the whole thing. This is hard.
It's cute and like I don't know what to say other than it's just a pile of jokes on top of like so I'll call it a sandwich, right? An open face sandwich.
Oh no.
Which I had for the first time recently. I was
That's
disappointed.
just a sandwich but disappointing
Yeah,
because
that's
sandwiches are meant to just be picked up. You can't pick up an open-faced sandwich.
So I'd say the bread is like this very loose, crumbly story of a kid that's depressed, and then like the cheese goes first because they're unconventional, and and that's the cheese that is the jokes of the story.
Much like in the show, this metaphor is swiftly falling apart.
Yeah, and it's like a grilled cheese open face sandwich.
Wait, is that
There's nothing else on it? It's just a cheese? There's gotta be
things that
some...
have 2 layers.
This is a good metaphor.
No.
It's so bad. Alright, let's talk about this cheesy symbolism.
I really thought you were going somewhere with that metaphor.
Continue.
Cheese. Cheese.
Cheese and
Great.
bread.
How crumbly is the bread? Is the
It's
bread
not a very
together?
good bread.
Is it
No,
together at all? Or is it
No,
just
it's
all
not.
over the place?
It's
It's being
all-
held together by the cheese.
Yeah, it's like it's too much water to flour ratio.
Jovan looks like he's in pain.
Yeah.
Well,
I am in pain. Alright. If we're going to talk about awful metaphors, let's talk about the symbolism of the show. This isn't really a show I can go episode by episode and just review. So let's just talk about the overarching symbolism here.
well,
shall
we can talk about the things that come out of his head.
robots? Or
Well,
Hina?
not only robots, but the way they show up before the robot even comes out. So like
Headrunners.
horn, ears, that sort of thing. At one point, it's a gun.
Yeah. At one point, it was a gun. That
Um,
episode is my favorite episode. I want to talk about that one by itself.
With the gun?
Yeah.
That was a good one, yeah. No, I agree.
Um,
We should talk about it.
I think it's my least. I think it's a good episode, but it's also my least favorite episode. So, I can do that. I can have those 2 statements. That's a
Yeah,
fair
no, that just means that the entire show is pretty good,
thing.
which I can agree with.
I don't know if that's the conclusion. I mean, I agree that the show is good. I don't know if that's how I reached that conclusion.
Okay,
But
that's
all right.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah, so he gets like weird body boners coming out of usually his head. Of
The
some
first
sort.
one is definitely a boner. There's
The
no
first
doubt.
one's just most definitely a boner. It comes to the point where like the girl hasn't sexually touched him in like half a day, so she like is overwhelmed or whatever it is she said, and then he like sees her fall over, and his dick just wants that
Overflowing.
Thank
Yes. And then
and his young premature body is it's a sexual awakening, and then a robot flies out of his head, and they fight it.
well, two robots fly.
A
out of his
robot
head.
and a hand.
Yeah,
True.
it's the arm.
Well, yeah, a hand robot. All the robots are hands besides Conti.
Also true.
Yeah, because they're all trying to
Grab the
iron out the
yeah.
wrinkles of the world.
They're all trying to grab the iron.
Is the iron his dick? I mean,
No. So the iron, I don't know exactly how the people who made the show intended it. I can't claim to, but the way I've always seen it is ironing out the wrinkles is ironing out the wrinkles of your brain, which is the thinky bits. And so when you grow up and you become an adult, you can either become like everyone else or maintain who you are. And he's trying to maintain who he is while still growing into his responsibilities.
So everyone's trying to iron him out while he's trying to.
Or at least something is trying to iron him out.
All right.
That is one interpretation that I won't claim to be 100% fact, but
Not a
something
bad
to think about.
interpretation. I think they do reference that in the show of like ironing out the brain, and then they just drop it because
Yeah.
they're like, "But this is also dumb,
Yeah,
so let's keep going."
Here's the story. I mean, wait, no.
Stop it! Do not look at the man behind the curtain. And yeah, in every episode, you have some sort of like emotional awakening. Let's see. There's the arsony, which is I can't remember if that was also a sexual one. I think it was kind of a sexual one.
I don't think so. I think it was anger, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was anger and regret, but there was also like whenever Mamimi was involved in the first ones, it was
Oh, yeah. No,
also that.
absolutely sexual.
The third episode is Nina Mori's. This is just kind of
Play.
being forced to grow up too quickly, especially
Yep.
with like the curry being too spicy, and it's like that's kids talk.
And that's
Yeah.
the origin of the name of the show. It's just this little bit about spicy curry. It's the Fury curry, the Foodie Cootie,
Mm.
I think.
I'm 100% sure it's not the origin of the title of the show. I think it's just the noises they decided that were going to happen, and then they wrote curry around that idea.
Yeah, I guess they probably just were breaking the fourth wall there. Anyway,
Puns.
I'm pretty sure there's a point where they make the joke that the main character just doesn't know what it means.
Yeah.
No one knows what it means. Well, I mean, it's something you do with your hands, but
The fourth episode, known as Furry Kiri, is the baseball one, and definitely my favorite episode, just because like that one was the easiest one to get. It's like most people live their whole lives with that swinging, and he finally goes for something with the knowledge that he could fail, and like that was a really good one for me
And
at least.
he hits a bomb.
It's a baseball,
It's a bomb.
base bomb.
base bomb, yeah.
I loved that the bomb that was dropping. I was like, "Oh, is this the bomb?" And then turns into a hand that throws a baseball, and I was like, "Ah, on the nose."
Yeah, no, and at the beginning of the episode where they're playing actual baseball and he doesn't even swing, it's because that's so ridiculous, right? Like,
Yeah.
but like they're trying to show you like this is what you look like when you don't even try. Like,
Yeah,
why
no,
would
that
you do that?
episode- That episode's the most on the nose, but because of that, it's also the one I enjoy the most because I can just sit down and watch the ridiculousness and have like a good conclusion to the episode. Whereas every other episode is just kind of a thing that happens.
but
Absolutely.
at least it's not like a key baseball episode.
Don't you dare insult key baseball episodes.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's not terribly depressing.
Listen, are you trying to imply that Yusuke just like standing up and preaching the word of God and then getting out because he forgot to call a timeout
They
isn't
have
the pinnacle of
funny
anime?
moments, but you know how that episode ends.
I want to talk about how that episode ends. Anyway, the fifth episode is my least favorite episode, one that we need to have like a full talk about. But long story short, sexual awakening, but also becoming a dick with pride.
Mm.
And sixth episode, shit happens.
It's just the wrap up. Like he's moving on. I think is the big
He leaves.
message from that. Yeah, it's like he tries to just tangle with this monster that came and like really rocked his world, which is probably like puberty or something. And then it leaves, and he's older and he's wiser. And did he actually ever learn anything? Probably not.
But now he's wearing a different outfit, so.
Yeah, he's older.
Alrighty. So that's the episodes like in whatever. Let's talk about 5. Let's just jump into 5.
Jump into 5?
Jump into 5.
Well, this is the one where the gun is coming out of his head, right?
Yep.
All right. I think it's fairly obvious that the gun is him being cocky, quite literally.
Yep.
Because every time
God.
someone compliments him, the gun cocks back a little bit more.
I missed the pun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, it's him dealing with everyone finding out that he's
A hero.
the hero. Yeah, the hero that's saving everyone. The one that is in this red robot. That's obviously extremely powerful for whatever reason. And everyone thinks he saved the whole town from whatever. When actually he didn't really do much. You know?
Yeah, that's my favorite reveal. But before that, I think the part that was most telling for me was when Minami, Mamamini,
All of those are fine.
Mamma
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia. Mamimi. When Mamimi is like losing interest in him because he's changed and she doesn't really want to latch on to him anymore. I can't really say she's in the right or the wrong because she's certifiably like insane and a child. But she's like lost interest in him and who he's become. And he tries to hold on, but like in an almost like cruel way.
Yeah.
And to me that spoke the loudest until eventually they're both forced to just like, no, you're done. This is done.
Yeah, and I mean, she's already being cruel by holding on to him because she's only with him because he reminds her of his brother.
Yeah, but
was-
then when she lets go, he doesn't want to.
Yep, exactly.
So that was actually a really cool thing. And in the end, you find out he had nothing to do with saving the world.
No,
Conti is his own being. Conti eating him? Nothing. He just needed ammo.
Yeah, the episode being called Brittle Bullet is very much on purpose because he is the brittle bullet. He has a brittle ego, and all he is ammo for this big robot.
So every time Conti Conti eats him to like power up basically, and you think that like he's the one controlling it because it seems that Conti's personality changes and he gets stronger.
Mm-hmm.
As it turns out, it's only because Conti can transform into a gun and he needed ammo.
Yep.
That's it. Naota has like no other purpose to Conti other than like he needed ammo.
Throughout the other episodes, I kind of had a feeling that like Conti, like he wasn't the one in control. Well, not Conti. Naoto wasn't the one in control. Like Conti didn't express himself like Naoto would. You know?
Yeah.
I thought at first it was like the cooler parts, like the parts of Naoto that wanted to be a hero, because especially in the Arsony episode, he just seems so cool to everybody and like treats everyone like you'd expect a hero to, like an idealized hero.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was like Naoto's idealized personality or something, but no, it just turns out that Conti is someone else completely.
I mean, I don't think Conti ever really gave off the vibe that he was being controlled by Naoto. He just kind of came. He didn't even come all the time when Naoto was in trouble. He just, if it was like convenient, he'd be there. But,
Yeah,
But I do think we're supposed to assume until that episode that he is piloting it to some extent.
Yeah, and I definitely did at the very least.
I think his main goal on Earth is just to vacuum up dust bunnies.
I think my favorite thing is at the end, Conti's still. The show ends, but Conti's still there. I don't know what to do with that. I imagine he would leave with the Pirate King, but no. Just hangs around, does laundry, gets yelled at. Poor guy.
Hey, best waifu.
Conti is best waifu. Though, I stand by my point that nobody in this show is a human being I would want to actually know because they're all caricatures trying to make a point.
I'm looking out for that Daikamura if anyone's gonna do it.
The what now?
I used the wrong word. The
I
body
don't know,
pillow.
did you?
Body pillow.
Dakimakura.
I did use the ring. Okay.
Yeah.
I have
All
a
right.
question.
Let's go.
If you guys can't think of which one you like best, you don't have to. But if you know, what episode has your favorite action scene in it? So, like, for instance,
3
the
for
robot
sure.
fight with the
Yeah.
3.
3. Episode 3. The when Nina Mori gets the
Yeah.
robot transferred to her head because she's the one who goes through the puberty angst that episode, not
Yep.
really Naota. So it transfers to her, and then it pops out of her, and it's just a really cool fight between like Conti and Haruko versus this like crazy brain robot using a girl's like a middle schooler's girl's legs to attack them, and it's like certifiably just an insane premise. That's still like kind of sexual, which was weird, but like
Oh yeah, definitely weird, but
like it was just a fun. That's the episode I saw that I was like, One Punch Man is happening on my screen right now.
I actually really liked, and it's not exactly for the actual fight, although it was pretty cool. It was on the last episode between Haruko and Naota, and the only reason why I choose that as my favorite is because of the scene directly afterwards where he just lets her go, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they just have a sort of standoff, and she asks him if he wants to go, and he's just like, no.
He doesn't even say it. She says no.
Yeah.
She just looks at him and says, "No, you wouldn't."
Yeah, I think that makes it my favorite action scene.
And the scene before too, where he admits his feelings like a little boy, because he is a little boy, and that's, I think, a really big part of the show was like him being able to acknowledge that he's still a kid too, like he's not a grown up. He feels grown up, but he's not a grown up.
I gotta say, I like the first fight only because it really. So if you're watching it in chronological order, like probably the majority of people are, it like really sets. I mean, I guess the tone was already set before, but you see just how like pointless Naruto really is to the.
She did
all
not.
the
He was
goings
hanging
on.
off the back of Conti
Yeah,
or the hand.
like-
I don't remember which.
Like he's I think it's still growing out of him, right? And like he's not really important to the story at all, and it's all going on without him. He doesn't have to be there, and it'll still be happening. If Naoto was completely taken out of the story, we would just get fewer moments of him talking about his brother and baseball, and it would just be
And feeling jealousy over his dad, which was weird.
yeah.
So, like, was Haruko actually banging his dad? Quick question,
No.
everybody. No?
I don't think so.
if I recall correctly, I think she was just trying to make Naota jealous.
So that she could get another robot out?
Yeah.
That's what I thought the implication might be, which is why she had the cyborg to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, the dad doll.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the weirdest parts of the show. That's one of the parts where I'm like, maybe I shouldn't show this to my friend.
It was why that was my least favorite episode.
Yeah.
Because while she's trying to make this, like, middle schooler jealous, I'm just sitting there like, why?
And this is
Why
kind
is
of
all of this
uncomfortable.
happening? This is just an uncomfortable, like, 20 minutes of my life. Make it stop. Let's see. I had another point that I wanted to bring up, but it's gone. The point is blown away into the wind. I cannot remember it anymore, so somebody else fill in the gaps.
I actually really love the clothing that they wear in the show. Like it's really simple, but Naota has a shirt a lot of the time that's just like a 90-degree like angle at the top of it, and it's the start of a baseball diamond, which is awesome. And like Nina Mori has a shirt that just says USSR. It's very simple, but something about it is just really
They
nice.
Something
Yeah.
you'll find on streetwear. That's it.
I really appreciate like simple but effective designs like that. Like the
Mhm.
character designs were definitely on point, and they
Yeah.
definitely like give you an idea of who the character is without like if you just looked at the design, you could definitely tell.
Yeah.
I realized
exactly.
my best girl. The teacher. The teacher that the universe just shits on over and over again for no reason. She does nothing wrong and everything just sucks for her.
It's another aspect of being an adult.
I think a great indicator, and I've mentioned this before, but it's been a while, for character design, for well done character design, is if you can take any character out of the element, out of its original area, and place it in something else. You'd be like, hey, that's that character. And I think FLCL does a good job with that. You will.
So in absolute fairness, FLCL's art style would also make them stand out pretty hard.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't think that detracts from the point, though. I think that only reinforces it. Like, that it's the art style and the character design are very much intertwined. And it's just another way to show just how impactful everything drawn really was.
All right. Well, before we jump into final thoughts and ratings, there's something we haven't actually talked about yet. She might be like the deuteragonist of the show or something. Haruko, we've mentioned her in correlation to other things. We haven't actually talked about the alien girl who just kind of showed up on a moped, hit him on the head, and is just always around doing things.
Definitely the driver for the show.
Yeah, the moped driver.
She is quite almost literally a walking, talking plot realization point, where everything in the plot is just because, like, she needed something to do this episode, or, like, she's trying to put a point in, or she wants something to happen.
But it doesn't really feel like bad. Like,
no, it doesn't.
She has a certain charisma about her that just sort of sucks you in.
It's like a charisma of, I know this is literally poison, I would never want this in my life, but at the same time, this is interesting, I kind of want this in my life.
Like candy.
I mean,
Or
she literally
alcohol.
tells Naota what she is. Like, she says to him, like, she's a manifestation of his desires. Like, of course, in the show, that's not what she is, but outside of the show, that's absolutely what she is.
Yeah. Something different, crazy, wild. Oh, God. Haruko's just, like... She's Wacko, Zacko, and Dot. What's the other one who's not Wacko? Jacko.
Yakko.
Is it Yakko?
What do you?
She
Are these
is-
like
she is
Pac-Man
wacko.
ghosts?
Nope,
No,
back to
it's
Animaniacs.
The Animaniacs.
Back to Animaniacs. I am holding on tight.
Blinky.
It-
Dinky.
It don't matter.
Dinky.
Is that not one of them? Dinky.
You know what? This isn't important. Let's look it up.
So it's Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala, and Poe.
No, those are actually the Barney dinosaurs.
I know they're Teletubbies.
All right, here we go.
They're
It's
Teletubbies.
Blinky, Inky, Pinky, and Clyde.
Dinky.
I always forget
Oh wait,
about
wait.
Clyde.
Dinky is one.
No,
What?
not. Blinky, Inky, Pinky, and Clyde.
Hold on.
Anywho,
Or
I have a
Clyde.
source
Oh, no,
telling
there
me
is
that
Dinky.
Dinky
You're right.
is a ghost.
Pinky's a white ghost. Where's he from?
I don't think he's in the game though.
He's not the game. It's like this is Pac-Man expanded universe.
he's their 5-year-old nephew who appears in the TV series.
Oh, you know me. I gotta get all the
Wow.
the extra universe.
Yeah, do you know Pac-Man lore? All right, yeah, but I completely lost any point I was going to say about Haruko. She exists. She is his
Yeah.
manifestations. She's crazy. In the end, he lets her go, which is good. All right, final thoughts and ratings. Would you recommend?
Yeah.
As I said before, yeah. To anyone who's into comedy and the rule of cool.
If you get bogged down by a slow anime, like you're like, oh man, these first 10 episodes of something Steins Gate are so slow. God, I thought by 9 it was picking up. Anyway,
I mean, the first 6 episodes are. I've fallen asleep during them many times.
yeah. And like you're like, it's going nowhere. Pop on FLCL. There's not a wasted second in that show. In this show, I recommend it pretty wholeheartedly.
Matt?
Yeah, no, I mean, I would recommend it to anyone. I don't think it's a guarantee that everyone will like it, but the worst case scenario is you waste 2.5 hours. Like, that's, not a big deal. Just watch it.
That is true. Since we started this podcast, I've had a tendency to start quantifying anime by how much time it takes. 12 episoders, if you skip the intro and ending, are generally 4 to 5 hours. 24 episodes are 8 hours. I just kind of quantify that so I can figure out like when I'm going to watch them during the week. And then the like night before the podcast / the morning of the podcast generally, because hey, but yeah, when you put it like that, just like 2.5 hours, it really does sound like nothing. Like we did not put commitment in there.
I don't even know if there's that extra half hour. I think
it might just be two.
Easiest podcast to date.
The show didn't really have an opening, so it did have a little bit of an extended runtime. So yeah, no, easiest podcast to prep for thus far. This morning was great. It was a good morning. Started it last night, finished it this morning. Still have an essay due. Anywho, I have priorities. It's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing's fine. So my recommendation, I would definitely recommend it to anyone who is like into slapstick comedy, just like all over the place comedy. If you liked Nichijou, you're gonna have a good time. If you liked Evangelion, you're gonna have a good time for a completely different reason. If you're into the symbolism kind of stuff, you'll probably enjoy this. If you are not into the symbolism stuff, but you're into the rule of cool, you'll enjoy this. Like, I think this show has like a little bit of everything for everyone, but not in the Full Metal Alchemist way of like everything for everyone. But in the, like, this show has so little substance almost that it has enough substance for everything. It also, a point I wanted to bring up before we finish, is that it feels like they could have had enough for 12 episodes, but those 12 episodes would have felt like a slog. Like, you could have more Monster of the Day, Emotion of the Day stuff, right? And it could have gone for a full, like, season run, a full 12-episode run. But I'm glad they didn't, because this way you always kind of feel like they could have put in more, but chose not to, and that's for the better, I think. It leaves you wanting just a little bit more Fooly Cooly, which apparently we're getting, so I guess that point's moot.
Yeah,
but whatever.
Better than you wanting less.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the point, but I liked the idea of always wanting just like a little bit more Fooly Cooly and not getting it. It seemed like it fit. So now there's a season 2. Capitalism has ruined my dreams of
and 3
reality. Wait, what?
Yeah, they announced both at the same time.
There's a trailer for 2, and they announced 3.
Okay.
It looks interesting.
Well, there goes my dreams.
Pillows are coming back, right?
Oh boy.
Huh?
The pillows are coming back, right?
Oh yeah, the pillows are coming back. If
be
nothing else, there's that.
If nothing else, the soundtrack will be rockin'. Kind of a fun, but a bad one. All right, with all that in mind, Thomas, what are we watching next week?
Next week, we are not watching my suggestion, though. It is a show I
In
love.
which case, Thomas, stop.
Sekai or...
No. Take it back.
Go,
Alan.
Alan.
Next week, what are we watching?
I was gonna say, I really wish Thomas's like review or like final thoughts were the last, because he mentioned slower series, and I wanted to just segue in, but like no, I love Shinsekai Yori, and I think that more people should watch it, as does our anime. Our anime has like a boner for this show.
I have watched the first 6 episodes. I understand why they do.
Yeah, but I think Shinsekai Yori is a show that, while not riding off of its like production values, it creates a really interesting story, and oh god, I'm so tired. I'm so sorry.
You can do it. Just a little bit more recommendation. Show's almost there.
Yeah. It has... Oh boy. No, can't do it. Thomas,
right.
You want to continue?
Yeah, it's like a very dark atmosphere that I think initially starts as this horror mystery, honestly, in the very like first 2 episodes or so, that quickly changes to an adventure in the middle part, and at the end, an action show. It's a butterfly of a show, you know, and it's the Caterpie for the first 8 episodes, and when it finally and it's telling a message like the entire way through. Maybe actually I said that too quickly before I really thought about it. I'm not sure if it's telling a message. It's just a really cool story, unconventional, definitely, in that it doesn't follow really many tropes.
I'll add one thing.
I should think more.
Episode 7, everybody will be a slog. I'm there. I get it. Just get through there, friends on the
You
internet.
could skip episode 8 too, probably.
No skipping. We have a podcast to do. I can't miss an episode.
There's no skipping here. I will say that Squealer did nothing wrong.
Oh boy, he's been saying
That
that
is
forever.
Almost certainly a spoiler.
Wheeler did a lot wrong thus far, so I cannot wait to find out how much more wrong he does.
Oh, he doesn't do anything wrong.
In the same way Griffith doesn't, right?
I never watched Berserk, so.
Well, get to it.
Gribitsu.
2016 version, Tom. You'll have a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, with all that in mind, I want to thank Matt for coming onto the show.
Thanks for having me.
It's been lovely. You definitely... I did not know how to talk about Fooly Cooly, so it's always good to know have somebody who can. You're welcome to come back anytime if any of the shows that we cover later on interest you. You've been a great guest.
Excellent, thank you.
Eventually, WeTaku Gaming will come back online, but let's be real, it's been really busy. And I don't live near them anymore, so it's harder for me to come over and play games. So, I think that's all for us. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks with Shinsekai Yori. We have no idea who the guest will be, so stay tuned. Bye-bye.
Bye.